go. So the chaos and the confusion and the mayhem that the Vikings are able to dial up has been real, and C.J. Stroud has struggled in this game. He just did complete a pass, though, that will go into Minnesota territory to about the 44-yard line. So Houston really, I think, Pat, has to score here on this possession. They've got to find some sort of a spark that could maybe turn into a bonfire. But the Vikings, offensively, Sam Darnold has looked good. He's crisp. 13 of 20, 152 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 1 to Justin Jefferson, 1 to Aaron Jones, and 1 to Jalen Naylor. As far as receiving numbers go, Jefferson, 6 catches, 81 yards. Stephon Diggs, the former Viking, 6 catches, 73 for Houston. Now, remember, the Texans don't have Joe Mixon, and that's a big loss in the ground game because Cam Akers has just 8 carries for 22 yards on the day. 5:50 to go. Texans facing a 2nd and 12 from the Vikings 47. They're down 21-rip here in Minneapolis.
All right, appreciate that, Eric. Yeah, very surprising. Let's go to the Caesars Superdome. We told you about that big 4th down play from the Eagles, and from the Saints, and it looks like the Eagles defense has come up with a big stop. Renee Nadeau's at the Superdome. Renee.
Yeah, Pat, in fact, the Eagles had their punt blocked, which didn't turn into any points. J.T. Gray blocked the punt. Jordan Howden returned it, but the Saints couldn't do anything. Went for it on 4th and 1 from the 18-yard line of the Eagles and got stuffed. Thus far, Saquon Barkley, 78 yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts, 24 yards. Hurts with 189 yards passing. Kamara, 53 yards on the ground. And Derek Carr, only 58 yards passing. We're at the 14-minute mark in the 4th quarter. Pat, still, Saints on top, 3-0. All
right, appreciate that, Renee. 2 teams in the red zone right now. We mentioned the Steelers. That has gone to the end of the 3rd quarter, so they're about to start the 4th quarter, and they have, in the first play, looks like a play to Najee Harris out in the flat, and it looks like he might have got a couple of yards there, so it's going to be a 3rd and short for the Steelers. First play of the 4th quarter. Justin Herbert is sitting on the bench right now, and he did exit the game. It looked like Taylor Heineke was getting ready to take over. We will see if Justin Herbert decides to come back out on the field. That was an incomplete pass ruled, by the way, for the Steelers. So it's 3rd and 9 at the Chargers' 12. Meanwhile, in Tampa Bay, it's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Broncos up 20-7. They just had 3rd and 14. The Buccaneers have gone offsides on back-to-back plays. So it's going to be 3rd and 4. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers continuously trying to gift this game away to the Denver Broncos each and every way they can. So big 3rd and 4 coming up at the end of when we start the 4th quarter. And let's get out to Raymond James Stadium for more on that. Here's Tom Akins. Tom.
Indeed, the 3rd quarter proved absolutely nothing except for the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not been able to mount any kind of comeback to get back in this ball game. The Broncos led 20-7 at the half. That is still the score. Bo Nix has done enough right this afternoon to really put his team ahead. He's 25 out of 34, passing with 216 yards. He does not have a touchdown pass, but he does have a 2-yard touchdown run. The defense for the Broncos has been up to the task of keeping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense under control, and that is not what we expected coming into this ball game because the previous 2 games the Buccaneers offense excelled. So here we go. The beginning of the 4th quarter, the Buccaneers have needed big-time comeback. Can the Broncos hold on? We'll find out. As the quarter begins, it's Denver 20, Tampa Bay 7.
All right, Tom, appreciate that. So big play coming up. Meanwhile, the Steelers on 3rd and 9 went for the end zone. Justin Fields incomplete. So they settle for a 30-yard field goal from Chris Boswell. He knocks it through. Pittsburgh on top of the Chargers, 13-10. And we will see if it's Justin Herbert who comes out or if it's going to be Taylor Heineke who comes out. Meanwhile, the Texans are finally on the board. C.J. Stroud finds Cam Akers for an 8-yard touchdown catch. And the Texans, barring the extra point, they're going to be down 21-7. Kaimi Fairbairn does make the extra point. So Houston takes them nearly 3 entire quarters to get on the board, but they finally do. C.J. Stroud to Cam Akers, 8-yard touchdown, 21-7. Vikings still in a really good spot in that one. Meanwhile, the New York Giants continue to hold a 2-score lead. The Browns just had to punt it back after they stalled once again, and a drive that included another Deshaun Watson sack A good punt, though, from the Browns, and their punter, Corey Bojorquez, pins the Giants back inside their own 5-yard line. But Deshaun Watson, get this, he's been sacked 7 times already. 7. That is not a typo. 7 sacks for that Giants pass rush, which had 5 last week against Jaden Daniels, and now starting to find their rhythm under new defensive coordinator Shane Bowen. So the Giants are up 21-7. Meanwhile, it looks like we have yet another takeaway in Nashville. Why don't we go there right now? Packers just got the ball back. They lead the Titans after the third quarter. Brant Douglas has more on another big takeaway for the Packers defense. Brant.
And the Tennessee Titans on the previous possession had just made it interesting with a touchdown. Will Levis to DeAndre Hopkins. Then they forced the Packers to punt. The Titans had gotten it back into Packers territory, and then it was just a jailbreak blitz. And it was the Packers forcing Will Levis into his 4th sack of the day. He fumbled the ball, and the Packers recovered it. So suddenly the Packers have the ball back inside their own territory. Malik Willis, 12 of 14 passing, 199 yards. It's highest for his career, the former Titan, thus far coming into town and taking care of business thus far. Packers one more good long drive away, probably from icing this one away. 14:30 left in the fourth quarter. It's the Packers 27, Titans 14.
All right, appreciate that. Meanwhile, big game-breaking touchdown in New Orleans. The Eagles being shut out. Not anymore. Saquon Barkley, 65-yard house call, touchdown Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley, who dropped the pass that would have iced the game against the Falcons on Monday night, has just atoned for it. 65 yards to the house. Touchdown Eagles. Extra point is good. 7-3. Philadelphia on top just like that with 13 minutes left to go. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers were able to force the Broncos into kicking a field goal. Denver able to do that, 33-yarder from Will Lutz. But the Broncos up 23-7, so it is now or it is never for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to get the ball back, down 23-7, a couple of seconds inside the opening of the fourth quarter. They're down 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. Let's go out to Indianapolis. We had a turnover about 5-10 minutes ago that we will get you filled in here on now, and then the Colts went for it on 4th down, so we got a turnover. We got a turnover on downs. This is maybe one of the wildest 7-3 games I can recount. Tom McCabe with the details in Indy. Tom.
Yeah, the Colts on 4th and 2 go for it, and they fail. So Chicago takes over, and now they are facing a 4th down and 4. So they're going to have to punt the ball away from their own 43-yard line. Now, Jalen Jones of Indianapolis, cornerback, second-year man, is the defensive standout of this game. He has intercepted Caleb Williams of Chicago twice in this game. Williams has 2 interceptions, both of them by Jalen Jones, and the most recent one coming at the 9-minute mark here in the second quarter. He intercepted Williams at midfield, but again, the Colts not able to do anything with the ball. Chicago gets it back. They're not able to do anything. They've punted, and now Indianapolis will take over 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. So it is 7-3, Indianapolis with the lead. We have 5:51 to go in the third quarter.
All right, appreciate that, Tom. Meanwhile, we've got, let's see, yes, Taylor Heineke is indeed in the game for the L.A. Chargers, and his first big test, he passes it. Finds Ladd McConkey on a 3rd down pass over the middle for 18 yards, and they are right near midfield. Steelers lead the Chargers 13-10, but Justin Herbert is out. Taylor Heineke is in, and that is with 12.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. The first down after that, J.K. Dobbins goes backwards, tackled for a loss of about 3, and we'll see if the Chargers can get anything done here. Down just a field goal, but it's Taylor Heineke against this vaunted Steelers defense. We don't have any teams in the red zone right now, so let's go back out to Minnesota. We told you the Texans got on the board before. Let's get details on that drive from Eric Nelson. Eric.
Yeah, hey, Pat, really it was a desperation drive for Houston. They had to get some positive things going, and they did. It was a 7-play, 72-yard drive. Took up 3 minutes, 31 seconds of clock time, and it was capped off by C.J. Stroud flipping one off into the flats and Cam Akers, the ex-Viking and Ram, was able to gather it in and score from 8 yards out. So right now it is 21-7 Minnesota, 3:43 to go in the third quarter. And Sam Darnold, as we speak, there was just a call on Houston, a roughing the passer penalty. I believe it was Daniil Hunter, who spent many years here in Minnesota as a Pro Bowl edge rusher. Darnold down around the 40-yard line, but now he's helped up. He's walking off the field toward the Viking bench, no helmet on, and he's getting an applause from the crowd here in Minneapolis. So he's going to have to sit out at least one play. We will see if he goes back in. He appears to be okay from up here, Pat, but they're going to take him to the bench and probably inside the tent and do some medical protocol on Sam Darnold. So that means the Vikings are looking at, it should be Nick Mullins as the quarterback. Yeah, he came in a lot last year. You know, Kirk Cousins went down. We had the Pasternak, Joshua Dobbs. We had Jalen Hall and then Nick Mullins. But Mullins will be in there now for Minnesota. Let's not forget the penalty on Hunter. It takes the ball down to the 36 of the Texans. So Minnesota, Sam Darnold temporarily out, Nick Mullins in. 1st and 10 Vikings at the Texans 36, 3:43 to go in the third. And Darnold has 3 touchdown passes today, and he's looked very efficient through the first 3 weeks of the season. We'll get back to you when we have an update from Minneapolis.
Yeah, appreciate that, Eric. Yeah, I just saw the play. Daniil Hunter went low, very, very low, knocked Darnold out from behind, right underneath the knees. Darnold, as you just heard it there from Eric Nelson, able to walk off the field. We'll see if he comes back. Yeah, Brett Rippon is the third stringer. He's inactive. So, and J.J. McCarthy, as we know, done for the year. So it's Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins. If Darnold can't go, it's going to be Nick Mullins. Speaking of quarterback injuries, we told you Justin Herbert was out of the game. I don't know if he's going to come back in. He's got a headset on right now on the sideline. He went into the blue medical tent before. From the signs that I'm seeing, that doesn't look like a quarterback that's going to try to re-enter the game in the immediate future here. We mentioned that Taylor Heineke delivered a pass over the middle for a first down, but after that, the Steelers went nowhere but backwards. Taylor Heineke sacked her down. They've got to punt the ball away, and the Chargers indeed punt it back to the Steelers, who have a 13-10 lead with less than just over 9 minutes left to go in this one. And if they score one more touchdown, it looks like that will do it, especially with Taylor Heineke in the game for the Chargers, and they haven't been able to find much offense as it is. Let's see. No teams in the red zone right now. Let's give you a quick scoreboard update here before we get to Cleveland for one last update. The Broncos lead the Buccaneers 23-7. Tampa Bay, now or never. But Baker Mayfield down Chris Godwin for 12 yards and a first down. They're on the verge of the red zone. We just mentioned Steelers lead the Chargers 13-10. Eagles, after the 65-yard touchdown run from Saquon Barkley, lead the Saints 7-3. Vikings lead the Texans 21-7. Colts lead the Bears 7-3 in that one. We had heard before we were going to see if the Bears were going to go for it on 4th down and 4. Instead, they punted it, and the Colts are starting to move the ball now a little bit here close to midfield. Packers lead the Titans 27-14, and the Giants still up 2 scores, but the Browns now starting to get some chunk plays. It seems like it's now or never as well for Cleveland. Let's go to John Bazika at the Dog Pound for more. John.
Yeah, they were starting to get some chunk plays, but then they hold backs them up, and they now have a 1st and 20 on their own 45, down 21-7 with 24 seconds left here in the third quarter as Watson is back to throw and completes to a tight end for a decent gain of 5. His tight end today, Jordan Akins. I wanted to give this note to you about this game that I thought was interesting at this point. Obviously, the Browns still well within it, but Watson at the half was 8 for 11 through the air for 67 yards. He's only completed 6 passes this entire half. He's 6 for his next, 15 at this point. 14, I think it'll end up being. 6 for 14 in the second half, and he's really just not had what he needs in order to make plays for them. And the other note of the game at this point is that the Browns' offensive line is being held together by super glue and duct tape at this point, Pat. They've got Joe Bitonio at left tackle. He's not normally supposed to be there. At left guard at this point, they've got their center, Ethan Posick. At center, they have Nick Harris, who's the backup center. At right guard, they have Zach Zinter, and then at right tackle, they have DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. The reason why that happened, Jed Wills left the game earlier. He injured his leg. His return is questionable. And Wyatt Teller, their all-pro right guard, was injured earlier in the game. He will not return with an injury. So Deshaun Watson has already not had time to throw. He's been sacked 7 times. He's struggled when he has had time. And the Browns enter the fourth quarter now as it's the end of the third quarter, down 21-7 with a makeshift offensive line. We'll see if they can play comeback, though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they will be able to, John. Great update, man. Appreciate that. We knew the offensive line had some question marks, and then Jed Wills leaves, left tackle, in his season debut. That's not going to help you. And on top of that, like you just heard John said, Wyatt Teller, their all-pro right guard, also has left the game, not come back yet. So, again, Deshaun Watson hasn't been very good at throwing the football so far. They're down 2 scores. They need to throw the football, and their offensive line's banged up. Woof. 2nd and 15 at midfield for the Browns when we start the fourth quarter. You heard the updates right before we went to John, so we'll go to break here, but right before we do that, we'll tell you that the Colts have pushed the ball down the field. Jonathan Taylor with a big play. They've got it 2nd and goal at the 1. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers just went for it on 4th and 3 right outside the red zone, and Baker Mayfield gets sacked. So the Buccaneers turn it over. The Broncos looking more and more like they're going to win this game. 2nd and goal, the Colts offensive line pushes it into the end zone, and if that's not ruled down, it's going to be a touchdown for Trey Sermon. We'll go to break. We'll confirm that if that stands. Trey Sermon touchdown. The Colts will be up 2 scores on the Bears. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Gridiron Game Day with Pat Boyle.
We'll be back with more Gridiron Game Day right after this.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day.